New Year music.
All right, we should be going live. Let's see. Let's make sure. I don't hear the new.
There it goes.
What is New Year's?
Exactly.
It's just pop electronica. Hi, everyone. We're just getting situated here. We'll just give it a second to let people join us. And then we can turn it off. So here's the chat. Chat is open. All right. I thought that made it really special. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Nina Hart, president of the National Nurses in Business, and this is Casey Goff. She is our member engagement coordinator, and today we wanted to come on and do a little impromptu New Year's Eve live stream and talk about goal setting for business and how you can use goals to leverage business growth. And it's always fun to talk about resolutions and things and dream. I think actually dreaming for your business is like really important to me anyway. Hi. Hello. Happy New Year. So I always like to talk about just things that kind of get our goals going and get our brain spinning and thinking about like, what if we could do this? And so that's kind of why I wanted to talk about goals. So I like to look back and think about what goals we set for the last year and try and think about, did we reach them? I'm not a resolutions person. Are you? Are you doing resolutions?
I am, but I usually don't make them.
No, that's why I don't do it.
I make them, but then I don't keep them.
Okay.
So,
do you have any you're going to do this year? Do you have a resolution for 2025?
Well, I want to read 25 books.
Ooh, okay. So that's like 2 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
I read 15 this year.
Hey, that's
but last year
good.
mine was 25 as well. So,
but you made progress.
That's right.
You did. Do you have a list of books that you're going to read?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No.
Well, I think one of my personal goals this year is going to be to try and like focus on my health and eat less sugar. And I always feel better. I always feel better when I don't eat sugar and less processed food, but it's really hard to do, especially when I'm traveling. So that's one of my personal goals. So I think that you can do goals a bunch of different ways. And it's really important to kind of get an idea of like what works best for you. I know that like a resolution, I'm so weak. Like holds no water. Like there's nothing, they always talk about in like goal setting classes or courses, like there has to be a big thing, either a big gain or a big loss or something that's like really important to you to like keep a goal. And maybe that's why, because I'm like, oh, well, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? There's nothing to keep it all year long. So one of my business mentors that I've had talks about setting intentions. And I think that's something that I've kind of done for my business is like set an intention and then put metrics behind it. And that's one of the better things that I've done for my business is to say like, I intend to make X amount of dollars. I intend to have this many clients. I intend to grow by this much. And then put like the metrics back there to support it. Like, have you ever read The 4 Disciplines of Execution?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like what WIGs, like wildly important goals. So the lead measures and the lag measures are kind of like your metrics. Like The lag measures, you're like, okay, well, I only brought on one client and that was $10,000. So how am I going to bring on 2 more clients? $10,000 isn't a lead measure for bringing on more clients. You've already made it. It already happened. It's already over. So you need to look at what you need to do in the future to achieve that goal for yourself. So like, for clients, that might be, okay, well, I need to make 2 LinkedIn connections, or I need to have, a client phone call every week where I connect with a new potential client, or I need to sell 3 mini assessments to bring on 1 full client or something like that. Those are kind of the measures that I like to use for my business. I think starting a business, your goals might be a little different. I think you're looking at maybe more specific things to measure than growing a business would be. Like, what are some things for starting a business you think would be like good goals to start a business with?
Get a mentor.
Yeah.
That would be one.
Yeah.
Just because I know for me with anything, not just work or like at the gym, if I don't have someone there to see me not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, it's really hard for me to do it.
Yeah.
So having a mentor that you could check in with weekly or bi-weekly or daily, just to say like, this is what I've gotten done and they're expecting you to get it done. I do think the accountability helps a lot.
I think accountability is huge. I think that mentors have been a huge part of why I've been able to accomplish what I have. I will also say mentorship seems like it's changed a little bit, and I could be wrong, but in my opinion, mentorship has changed a little bit. And I think that peer accountability can also be equally as effective as mentorship right now. So having a strong peer group who's working towards the same thing, who's trying to achieve something similar is really helpful as far as like encouragement and just not getting bogged down or isolating yourself, or even like you said, that accountability. Robin said, SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Realistic and achievable is the hardest for you. You might be surprised with what I think is realistic and achievable. So, if you say your goal is $1 million, I think that's super realistic and achievable. So I think it has to be realistic and achievable in the way that like, it can't be something that is not going to work, right? It has to be something that's going to work for you. I think that's part of it.
I think timely is mine. I'm like, I'll get it done.
It'll just be
in a few years
before I die.
Yeah. Hopefully, God willing.
Yeah. So, I do think SMART goals thanks for that segue, Robin. I think that was a perfect segue into different methods you can use to set goals for your business. So SMART goals is one of them. That does not work for me either. I love the idea of SMART goals, but focusing on what I want and then setting up metrics. If there's a framework for that, or if that's even, but that's what I like to do. But another tool that is amazing that I use and that several other of my peer support group business owners use is the 12-week year. So have you read that book?
But you told me about it.
Yeah, it's a good, put it on your 25.
I will.
This year. So it's cool because it's about the way we have annualized thinking. So this plays into my whole like quantum realm thing that I'm into right now. I know your face. She can't hide it. It's permanent. I have been reading about like making quantum leaps in your business, making quantum leaps in your thinking, like just completely changing the way you think. Actually, I have it right here. This is Price Pritchett, and it's a quantum leap book. So, it's talking about how we created time. Humans essentially created a year, right? We created the limits that we set upon ourselves. And so if we can do that, then we can break out of those limits. And I really like that. So the 12-week year is talking about 12 weeks at a time being your whole year. That's it. That's your whole year is 12 weeks. It's not like, oh, there's 12 weeks in a year. 12 weeks is the year. So making a smaller time frame to like make it more time bound. So like you were talking about timely being your challenge, and me too, because it's like the goal wears off. I'm like, well, it's January 7th and I'm already thinking I can't make it till next December. Right. So it's like this 12-week year is really, really focused. So you're only planning like one or two things. And then you have these tactics that are going to support you getting to that. So that could be like add one more client in the next 12 weeks. I want to add one more client. My tactics for doing that are going to be to, outreach to two potential clients every week, or, connect with two potential clients on LinkedIn, or whatever your strategy is going to be to support you achieving that. But I have found it to be much more manageable. And I find that it just makes sense to say, okay, well, I know I can only do one or two things every 12 weeks, because when we focus on too much, we don't achieve anything.
Yeah.
We have 100 fires and, none of them get hot enough to burn anything. So it's like that challenge where we have to pick something.
I think for me, it's been super helpful. And I just really found out about the effort impact matrix. So you look at something in the way of like high effort, but like, what is the impact? So like rebuilding a website would be like a lot of effort. But if you are already making goals and meeting them where you're supposed to, like that really might not be super high impact. Or like cleaning your office space, that's high effort, but that is high impact, because if you have a messy office space, you're going to struggle to keep things organized. So I try to look at things like, what can I do that's the most useful in my time, that's going to, have the most output that's beneficial.
I call that the ICE matrix. There's a C in there somewhere. I'm going to have to look it up now.
Okay.
Because there's it's confident. How confident are you in this task? So if it was building a website and you are not techie at all, your confidence level would be 0.
Right.
Right. And the effort's really high. So the impact is going to be lower. So it would be like 10 for effort, 7 for impact, 0 for confidence.
Right.
And then you would add those up, or I think it says multiply them at the end. I don't know.
You lost me.
Yeah.
I can't do math.
The mathing on that.
Yeah.
But then you take those goals. This is actually like been a super helpful exercise for nurses I've worked with who can't decide where to start. They're like, I want to start a business in 2025. I don't know what to do. Well, it's like, write down everything you're interested in. Like for me, write a book. I want to write a book, like a personal book. And I have never gotten to it because the effort is high and the impact is kind of unknown. And the confidence level is so it never made it to the top of my ICE matrix.
Right.
So you like can take those numbers and say, okay, what's the quickest thing I can execute that I know I have the high confidence. It's an effort level that's manageable, and it's going to have a high return on investment for me. It's going to be a high impact. And then I can use that to kind of determine like what is going to move my business forward this year. Right. I love that you brought that up. Thank you.
Yeah. I've been trying to use that in my personal life as well. Just like, about where maybe I should live next or what I should do. I've been talking on my LinkedIn a lot about
Tennessee's nice this time of year.
Yes, it is. I've been talking a lot on my LinkedIn about how I've been doing so much stuff on the side, like my own side hustles, that I'm getting to the point where it's probably time to go PRN or quit my full-time job as a nurse. And I'm looking at that, like the impact on that versus what the output would be. I would have more time. I would be able to make, pick up extra clients or do extra work. And so it's not just in a business. It can be in like health goals, school or anything like that. It's just a really good way to organize like what is important and what is something that maybe I want to do, but it's just not like really useful.
I like that. I think that's a really helpful way to organize priorities, because I do think it all seems very important. I struggle with that as well, as like, this is all super important, needs to be done right now for me to be successful and move forward. And then you don't start any of it, or you have 1,000 tabs open and you don't actually see any money or revenue come from that. And that's one of the most important things is like, you have to make your time. That is one of my things that I did well in 2024. And then I'm going to carry over to 2025 is I really focused on revenue generating activities. I think that's huge. I think, especially for nurses who are starting businesses, they're trying to know everything, like trying to gain the knowledge necessary to start their business. And unfortunately, that's kind of a catch-22 because you already have everything you need. Back to that quantum realm, you have everything you need already to start your business. You don't need anything else. And if you don't focus on activities that actually produce and you're trying to gaining knowledge doesn't make you money in the immediate future. It might in the far future that you've gained all this knowledge, but if you're wanting to see results and you want to see the fruit of your labor, unfortunately, research is not the way to do that in business. So
I think it also comes down to like when people say if you wait for the right time, you'll wait forever.
Yeah.
Like if you can sit around and do all the research you want and think about the perfect way that you're going to message that perfect client and how you're going to woo them. Like what it comes down to is you just have to take the next right step. And if you miss that client because you think, oh, I didn't have the answer, well, that actually wasn't a waste. That was great because now you know what the clients are going to ask you and you can move on to the next client. So like just sitting around and waiting is not going to do anything better than just putting yourself out there.
Isn't it the best time to plant an apple tree is today, and the next best time to plant an apple tree was 10 years ago?
Yes.
You already have apples right now.
Yeah, you can have apples.
So it's, it's one of those things where it's like planning is super important and strategy, but you have to balance that with kind of using that prioritization grid to determine where your action needs to be focused. That's something I've improved immensely in. I really used to have like open tab fatigue where I would just be like, how to make a webinar, how to make a course, how to put everything I've ever learned as a nurse into one course, it's just there's no return on that. And I never showed it to anyone ever, never shared any of that with anyone. So no one ever bought it. And then once I did, I threw all these documents that I made into a folder for the DON toolkit. I put all these forms I made in a folder on Memorial Day weekend and shared it on Facebook and was like, hey, this is probably 10 years of my life right here. 10 years of being a DON. I made all these forms. I came up with all this stuff and it's $27. It started as $27 and I had over 100 people buy it that weekend. I woke up on Memorial Day to like $3,000. And that was the first real money I ever made from anything I created. It was like 18 months later. I had been working on courses and content for like over a year and never told anyone or showed anyone. So, you really have to balance that action with that planning and that prep and that strategy. So what are some other tips? That was actually a great segue into like overcoming some setbacks of like, how do you get stuck and how do you get unstuck when you are like, you've prioritized your time and energy. You're tracking your metrics. You've got your metrics set, staying accountable with your mentor and your peers, and you celebrate where you win and you're doing all the right things. And sometimes you still get stuck. So what are our tips for kind of getting unstuck when you feel like I've got my goal and I'm just not making any progress?
Well, it makes me think about what we've been talking about a lot this weekend or this week with just being together, whatever day it is.
we don't know what day
whatever it is.
But, sure.
Just how I've said that like I do really well with like small tasks that I can just like knock out.
Yeah.
So I think a big one for me would be like simplifying it. So write down like every little thing you do, and once you do it, it's like, wow, I did all this today. It might have just been one big thing, but I did every little task, and it makes me feel like it was very manageable and I got a lot done. And it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, this is a huge project. How am I ever going to get it done? It feels like, cool, I did the first 5 steps today towards this project, and now I'm that much closer.
You reminded me of another book that I read this year, Buy Back Your Time. It was a really good book. And in that, he talked about doing an energy audit and doing a task audit.
Mhm.
So how are you spending your time? And he would say like people were just shocked, literally shocked when they audited their own time and figured out how much time they were actually wasting and not really spending it on anything
Yeah.
that was doing anything. They're like, why am I spending hours on this and seeing nothing from it? You do that task audit and you're like, wow, I'm spending my whole day, trying to find people on Facebook and not really even doing anything.
Right.
And then the other thing was the energy audit. Are there things that suck your energy and suck your joy? And how can you like move those so that they're at a time when it's not going to ruin your whole day. It's not going to prevent you from getting anything done.
Mm-hmm.
There's a baby doggy. My dog's barking, so I'm sure you'll hear it. But
this really resonates with
yes,
her.
she's feeling this. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to say that you brought to my mind with that is how we view things, how we view our tasks. So you are like thinking about, you're rearranging your mindset to like what you handle the best and how you think about things and perceive things is a big part of how you complete them. And I think for me, like I will get stuck in a task or a goal or an intention and be like, I can't do this. This is too hard. This is too much. And we really, I think, stepping away, just completely stepping away, like shutting it completely down and saying like, I need to do something else right now.
Yeah.
And stopping and even just a mindset reframe, like, how am I thinking about this? Why am I thinking this is so hard?
Yeah.
What about this feels hard right now? Okay, it's hard. That's okay. What would be easy?
Right.
What would make this an easy thing for me to do? Maybe you don't have to do a webinar. Maybe you don't have to build a whole website. Maybe you can make this easy and just go live on Facebook and do it. Maybe you can just make a PDF out of it instead. Like, what would feel good? What would feel manageable for you?
Leverage AI. Ask AI. How I know some people are against it, but I'm telling you, it's been so helpful for me to be like, I'm trying it this way. This is not working. What would you recommend some other ways? Like, I mean,
That's
maybe
awesome.
it doesn't work.
That's
maybe
genius.
it's perfect and it breaks it down for you. So
I love it. I think that's a great idea. So we've talked about kind of doing some task audits, breaking bigger projects down into smaller pieces. We've talked about mindset reframing. What else? The 12-week year connects you back to your vision. So you have a long-term vision and a short-term vision. It's like a 10-year vision and a 3-year vision. I even do like a long-term vision, like 5 years, and a short-term vision, like 3 months to 6 months, because I am a person, I need to see the results from what I'm doing, or I get very discouraged. Yeah. So I think staying connected to that vision and really looking at, why did I start this? Why do I have to achieve it? What's the big thing connected to this? The WIG, the wildly important goal from 40X, the 4 disciplines of execution. The wildly important goal that I'm trying to reach is non-negotiable, right? I have to do this. Like for me, self-employment is not plan B. Self-employment is plan A. There is no plan B for me. So I know I have to make X amount of revenue in my business to keep it going. There is no plan B. So I know when I'm connecting to that vision, I'm saying, this is how I'm achieving my dreams. This is how I'm feeding my family. This is how I'm impacting nurses positively. This is important to me. This is everything to me. So when I reconnect to that vision, that 5-year vision, 10-year vision, 3-year vision, 6-month vision, it doesn't matter what vision, those are all pieces of that somehow that kind of encourage and support me.
Yes.
Well, I think we've covered a really lot of good things. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, or any other tips that I left out or anything?
I wanted to add a little Easter egg for any of you that are not on the NNBA newsletter. It's free. Sign up for it, because if this is something that you really struggle with or something that you're really interested in, we have something special for you.
I'm actually
for the
really
new
excited
year.
about this.
And it was created by a couple people who have really struggled with like the basic goal setting and kind of had to like step outside the box. So definitely look. It's very, very helpful in my opinion. So I would love for you all to take advantage. And one other little thing is that it's free for any members. So
awesome. That is amazing. I'm going to put the website here. You can go to nursesbusiness.com and either get on the newsletter emailing list there, or you'll be able to find membership information there as well. Since you brought it up, I'm going to go a little bit deeper.
Okay.
So I appreciate you bringing it up. So one of our goals, I want to connect this to kind of our vision for the NNBA. One of our goals is to provide more impact and more resources for our members so that throughout the year, our conference, which is launching soon, we are there with conference registration. So we are pumped. The speakers are set. The agenda is set. The links are ready. They're live. They're hot. We're super pumped about January 1st conference registration being open. And so
the MC is incredible.
Hint, hint. There's another Easter egg for you, if you can guess. But one of our goals is to make sure that between conference and all through the year, our members have supportive tools and resources that make their membership valuable, that engage them, that help them refresh their renewed love of their business, support them, help them break through some of these setbacks and some of these barriers that they're experiencing. So we've got this tool, this new tool, Momentum. It is a Q1. Q1 is Ignite, and it is a business planner. It's free for members. That was something that we really spent a lot of time hashing out, was how did we want to provide this resource? And we ultimately decided that, we want to provide more for our members. We have such good member retention rates, such good member engagement, and we want to provide more value for that. And so we decided that Momentum would be free for members. So if you're not in that newsletter, go to nursesbusiness.com. Make sure you're signed up for the newsletter. If you're a member, you'll be able to get that in the store. It's going to be under business resources. So we're really excited about providing this free resource for nurses. And if you're not a member, it's $27. So it is a Q1 business planner. It's you want to tell them a little bit about what's in it?
Yeah, so it's over 35 pages of, it's broken down into basically every single chapter. There's 4 chapters. They talk about marketing. It talks about financial, how to, set yourself up for success financially, looking at last year versus this year. There's a lot of things that you can, like hands-on things, a lot of matrices, a lot of different questions that you can kind of like look back on to help you be successful for this year. And
so this isn't just a calendar.
Yeah,
this isn't going to be a Q1 calendar where you can just plot out call with Casey at 2 p.m.
No, it's something it's for you to be able to be honest with yourself about, like, what did I do last year that worked really well for me or didn't work really well for me? Or did I, once you're reading about like what you should be doing in Q1, you might look and be like, I didn't even do that in any Q last year. So it's just really just to support you and set you up for success. And if you go through it and you think it's really helpful, I would love to know about that. If you go through it and you don't think it's helpful at all, I would love to know about that. We really want to increase value for all of our members that have been so loyal. So
yeah, we absolutely do. And I think that, this was made for nurses specifically, by nurses specifically. So, I think it's the reason I kind of asked the question about the calendar is because, you can buy a planner anywhere. This is really meant to be tailored towards growing your business in 2025, building a business that you love, that supports you and your impact as a nurse. And so we really have a heart for this. And this is really aligned with our vision for the NNBA, reaching nurses who want to have their own business. And we believe that this planner, this Q1 Ignite planner, is a tool that is really going to help you achieve that. So we're very excited about offering that to our members. Anything else you want to share?
I don't think so. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year. We're excited. We're going to really try to stay up until midnight.
Yes.
I am. I'm going to make an effort.
Same.
Okay. And what are your plans? We'd love to hear about what you're doing for New Year's. If you've gotten anything that you're working on, if you would share your resolutions with us, your business goals with us. We'd love to hear. We'd love to hear what your goals for your business are for 2025 and how we can support you. It's really helpful for me to hear what nurses are doing, what they want to do, what they're thinking about. I just think that makes it a lot more connected to be able to provide support and resources when we know, like, here's the areas where nurses are struggling. So we are super, super excited for 2025. More conference information to come soon. And, as far as setting goals, we want to support you any way we can, and just really encourage you to keep showing up for your business and keep showing up with consistent action. So we're going to sign off. Goodbye, 2024.